In the heart of Europe, a conference was held, not for peace, not for unity. It was 1884, and the air in Berlin was thick with greed. Like vultures circling a carcass, European powers gathered. They came to carve up a continent that was not theirs, Africa. This was the Berlin Conference, a moment etched in history with blood and betrayal. It wasn't a negotiation, but a dictation. Europeans drew lines on maps, splitting families, tribes, and entire kingdoms. They ignored centuries of history, culture, and tradition. Africa, a continent rich in resources and diverse in its people, was reduced to a chessboard. The players, the European powers; the pawns, the African people. The game, a brutal scramble for land, for resources, for dominance, and the prize, Africa itself. The sun never set on the British Empire, they boasted. But the French, the Germans, the Belgians, they too hungered for power. Each nation sought to outdo the other, to claim the largest piece of the African cake. This rivalry was not about progress or civilization, as they claimed. It was about power, raw and insatiable. The British, with their vast empire, coveted East Africa and the Nile. The French, seeking to restore their wounded pride after their defeat in the Franco-Prussian War, aimed for West Africa. King Leopold II of Belgium, a man of monstrous ambition, carved out his personal fiefdom in the Congo, unleashing a reign of terror in the name of profit. These rivalries were not bloodless. Wars were fought, treaties were broken, and countless lives were lost. The Europeans, armed with superior weaponry and driven by insatiable greed, left a trail of devastation in their wake. Imagine a baobab tree, ancient and strong, its roots deep in the soil of Africa. Colonization was like a storm, tearing at its branches, shaking its foundation. The Europeans, with their arrogance and their guns, sought to remake Africa in their image. Traditional systems of governance, honed over centuries, were replaced with foreign systems. African economies, once self-sufficient and diverse, were forced to cater to the needs of the colonizers. Our land was stolen, resources plundered, and generations forced into labor. This was not just exploitation, it was an attempt to erase African identity. African languages, vibrant and diverse, were suppressed. African religions and spiritual beliefs, rich in tradition and wisdom, were demonized. The colonizers sought to break the spirit of the African people, to make them doubt their own worth. Hand in hand with the soldier came the missionary. The Bible and the gun, they arrived together, two sides of the same coin. Christianity, the religion of the colonizer, was presented as a path to salvation, a mark of civilization, but its arrival was often brutal, its message distorted. African spiritual beliefs, rooted in the land and the ancestors, were deemed pagan and barbaric. The intricate tapestry of African spirituality, with its reverence for nature and its deep connection to the ancestors, was dismissed as the work of the devil. Missionaries, often well-intentioned but blinded by their own cultural biases, sought to replace these rich traditions with their own narrow worldview. Conversion was often forced, a tool of control, disguised as an act of benevolence. Schools became instruments of indoctrination, teaching African children to reject their own cultures and embrace the ways of the colonizer. The cross, once a symbol of hope and redemption, became for many a symbol of oppression and cultural erasure.